Good evening. Today is the 4th of May 2023, and what a rally we saw in Nifty today. We saw that Nifty shot up 200 points to close above 18,200, and we also saw Bank Nifty move more than 500 points. So we basically had a negative bias in Nifty and Bank Nifty both, and rather I had said in yesterday's video that Bank Nifty has an area here which is my star level. So this was the area which I had talked about and had also marked the star level in yesterday's price action. It was the area of confluence at the central pivot. It was an area of confluence of the PP and the L3. So you can see how Bank Nifty opened above the top central pivot, and yesterday's closing being below the central pivot range plus today's central pivot range being below yesterday's CPR, it had given us a bearish bias, but you can see that both Nifty and Bank Nifty have rejected that bias by opening right above the top central pivot. If price opens anywhere below it when we have a negative bias towards the market, then we will look for selling opportunities. But you can see that market has completely turned that bias upside down, and the bearish bias which we were holding yesterday after yesterday's close is now rejected. So the bias definitely became bullish right since the open of the market, because the open itself had rejected that bias. But we were not very strongly bullish. Why? Because the opening was still between the H3 L3 level. When do we become very strongly bullish? It is when the price action is opening above the previous day high in both Nifty and Bank Nifty. As you can see, Bank Nifty's PDH was here, and you can clearly see that Bank Nifty was opening within the previous day's range here. And as long as we have an open which is above or between the previous day's high and low, that is within the previous day's range, and it falls between H3 and L3, our bias, even if it opens above the top central pivot, that is above the CPR, the bias is rejected, yes, but not very strongly rejected. Does it mean that we have turned strongly bullish to expect this kind of a 500-point rally in Bank Nifty? No, we are not strongly bullish. So what should we look to do? We should look to trade from L3 to H3, because you can see here that even in spite of the fact that the CPR itself is lower value, you can see that H3 and L3 for yesterday were here, and for today they were here. So which means that we had the third layer to be overlapping lower value. And that was the same case in Nifty, but it rejected the bias as far as the CPR is concerned, because the CPR was lower than yesterday and the open was above the CPR, but still that open was not above H3. If the open was above H3, we would have been strongly bullish from the H3 level. If it were above H4, then we would have looked for signs at reversal signs at H4 to buy the markets. One thing was for sure, that the market was definitely looking to go up today. But what should have been our trading level? It should have been at the level of the central pivot range and the L3. So this was the opportunity to go long today. But where was the profit booking to be? See, obviously you are not supposed to sit around the entire rally. Such rallies cannot be predicted in the markets anyway. So what was your job here? Your job is to just look for reversal patterns in the market around the area of confluence of central pivot and L3, and then go long at this particular position here. That is the location to enter, but your target should be H3 immediately. And where should be your stop loss? Perfect mode stop loss would be below the central pivot range. But as you can see, if this is your stop loss and this is your target, that is not a good risk reward. So we did not really have a very good risk reward in price action today. If the price action opens between H3 and L3 and it has rejected the initial bias, then the place to buy becomes the L3. So you can see after the first candle made this doji, price never really came back to the L3. It never really showed any pullback, so we could not enter the trade in Nifty at all. Such kind of rallies will be very infrequent, but usually what happens is these kind of rallies cannot be traced initially earlier in the day. So you should let such rallies go and not run behind price. So what do we have in terms of price action as far as levels go? Now obviously we have an extremely wide CPR for tomorrow. And these were the, now if you can see these lines, these were the supply zones that we had marked that price has broken today. This one, and the level at 18,265 in Nifty is still holding, because price action has taken selling there and it has come down in the last 15 minutes. So we will let that level be. So unusually wide CPR will usually indicate a sideways day, and the day will really not have much trend in it. So anyway, the day tomorrow has this important zone here, which is the L3 plus the PP, which we had in Bank Nifty today, and you will be looking to buy the markets. If the markets were to open anywhere above the BC, you will look to buy the market for a bounce at the L3, and your target should be the 18265 level, which is the supply zone coming from prior price action, older price action. And how about Bank Nifty? We can see clearly that Bank Nifty will also have a wide CPR, since we have had an extremely wide ranging day today. And we will delete this box, which is a selling box, and you can see here that even Bank Nifty has the confluence of pivots tomorrow. It is the Camarilla level, L3 and the PP. So this is the level that we will be looking for to trade tomorrow. If the price action opens anywhere above the bottom central pivot here, then we will be looking to trade. If it goes through this, then we will be looking to trade any pullback to this particular level here. Any open between the H3 and L3, even then you will wait for the L3 level to come, and then you can trade a bounce off the L3 level. Target should be the H3 level, as long as Nifty does not reach the supply zone that I just showed you. And you can obviously mark the levels, the lows of today as a strong demand zone. For that, we can go to the 15-minute time frame. You can see here that we also have a virgin CPR for tomorrow. So what we can do is we can just mark a box around the same area and mark it as a strong demand zone, but we'll mark it in green so that we won't delete it, because whenever I mark levels in blue, they stand for a virgin CPR, and here we can see that it's specifically a demand zone as well, and a very strong one at that. So what we can do is we can just push it into a green color. And in Nifty also, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Let's mark the levels on a higher time frame, and that should be all for today's price action analysis. So if you've understood this video and liked it, then please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I post a new video. Thanks guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.